The silent threat. The Arcturus research station hung silently in space, its gleaming white exterior reflecting the distant starlight. For 15 years, it had served as humanity's premier xenobiology research facility, a symbol of cooperation between Earth and the various alien civilizations that made up the Galactic Confederation. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling nebula beyond. Something felt wrong. The station's long-range sensors had been picking up unusual energy signatures for the past week. The Confederation dismissed her concerns, assuring her that it was merely routine traffic from the nearby Craxan trade routes. But Sarah knew better. She had spent too many years studying alien behavioral patterns to ignore her instincts. Dr. Chen, we're picking up multiple ships dropping out of FTL, her assistant Marcus called out through the comm system. They're not broadcasting any identification codes. Sarah's fingers flew across the holographic display, bringing up the tactical overview. 12 ships, their design unlike anything in the Confederation registry, were approaching the station in an attack formation. Her heart raced, but her voice remained steady as she activated the station-wide alert system. This is Dr. Chen. All personnel, initiate Protocol Omega. This is not a drill. The Craxan Dominion had always viewed humanity as a curious anomaly in the galaxy. Despite evolving on what they classified as a death world, humans had somehow managed to advance technologically without developing the aggressive territorial instincts common to such species. The Craxan Military Council had spent years debating whether this made humans fascinating or dangerous. Today, they had decided to find out. As the first plasma torpedoes struck the station's shields, Sarah watched her crew spring into action with practiced efficiency. The public might believe that humanity had fully embraced its role as peaceful researchers and traders, but those in positions like hers knew better. Every human installation, every ship, every colony had been carefully designed with defensive capabilities that far exceeded their apparent purpose. Shields holding at 80%, Marcus reported. But we're detecting more ships incoming. They're targeting our communication array. Sarah nodded grimly. The attack was well planned. Disable communications first, then methodically tear apart humanity's most advanced research facility. The Craxan clearly expected to find a soft target, staffed by academics and scientists who would panic at the first sign of aggression. They couldn't have been more wrong. As the second wave of ships emerged from FTL, Sarah activated a hidden console beneath her station. A series of commands, encrypted with protocols known only to a select few humans, transmitted to Earth's defense network. The response was immediate. Automated defense platforms, hidden in asteroid fields throughout the sector, powered up. Quantum entanglement communicators, undetectable by conventional sensors, began transmitting tactical data to the nearest human fleet. They're demanding our surrender, Marcus announced, his voice tight with controlled anger. They claim this is a preventative action to ensure humanity doesn't become a threat to galactic stability. Sarah allowed herself a small, grim smile. Transmit no response. Maintain shields and continue emergency protocols. The Craxan ships pressed their attack, their weapons growing more powerful with each volley. They were clearly surprised by the station's resilience, but their tactical officer would soon figure out the pattern in the shield modulation. It didn't matter. They had already made their fatal mistake. For centuries, humanity had presented itself as a species that had overcome its violent past, focused entirely on scientific advancement and peaceful cooperation. It wasn't entirely a deception. Humans genuinely desired peace and had worked hard to maintain it. But they had never forgotten the harsh lessons learned on their homeworld. Every scientific breakthrough had its military applications carefully documented. Every peaceful installation had defensive capabilities that could be activated at a moment's notice. The Craxan were about to learn why Earth had been classified as a death world. As the station's shields began to buckle under the sustained assault, Sarah received the confirmation she had been waiting for. The Fourth Fleet, officially listed as a collection of survey vessels and cargo haulers, had completed its combat transformation. Weapon systems, hidden beneath civilian facades, were online. Ships that appeared to be simple freighters were revealing their true nature as state-of-the-art warships. "Message from Fleet Command," Marcus announced, a note of fierce pride in his voice. "They say to hold position for 10 more minutes." Sarah watched the Kraxan ships continue their attack, still completely unaware of what their actions had set in motion. Humanity had maintained its peaceful facade for generations, waiting patiently, hoping it would never be necessary to reveal their true capabilities. But they had always known this day might come, had planned and prepared for it with the same methodical determination that had allowed them to survive and thrive on their harsh homeworld. The Kraxan had chosen to attack what they perceived as humanity's softest target. In doing so, they had awakened a giant that had been hiding in plain sight. As Sarah watched the first human warships emerge from FTL, their weapons already charged and targeting systems locked, she knew that the galaxy was about to change forever. The silent threat was silent no more. Awakening the giants. Admiral James Harrison stood on the bridge of the UES Hyperion, watching as his fleet dropped out of FTL around the Arcturus research station. The massive ship, officially registered as a deep space survey vessel, had shed its civilian disguise. Weapon ports previously hidden beneath innocuous sensor arrays now bristled with energy weapons that made even battle cruisers look primitive by comparison. All ships reporting combat ready, Lieutenant Commander Diana Walsh announced, her fingers dancing across the tactical display. "The Kraxan fleet appears to be confused, sir." Harrison allowed himself a thin smile. Of course they were confused. The ships that had just arrived to defend the research station looked nothing like the registered configurations in the Galactic Confederation's database. Where there should have been vulnerable cargo holds, there were reinforced armor plates. Where there should have been civilian-grade shields, there were defensive systems that could withstand a small sun going nova. "Open a channel to all Kraxan vessels," Harrison ordered, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of human military tradition. "Let's give them one chance to realize their mistake." The Kraxan commander's image appeared on the main view screen, his scaled face showing a mixture of surprise and growing alarm. "This is impossible," he hissed. "Human ships are not equipped with such weapons. Your registry files were exactly what we wanted you to see." Harrison interrupted. "You attacked a peaceful research station, believing humans to be defenseless scientists. That was your first mistake. Your second was assuming we had shown you everything we were capable of." The Hyperion's sensors detected power spikes across the Kraxan fleet as they began charging their weapons. They were committed to their course of action, despite the sudden revelation that they had severely underestimated their opponent. Harrison had expected nothing less. The Kraxan were notorious for their pride. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Delta," Harrison commanded. "Minimal casualties, maximum impact. Show them exactly what they've awakened." The human fleet moved with precision that would have been impossible for vessels that were truly converted cargo ships. Decades of hidden training exercises and classified technological development were finally being put to use. The Kraxan ships fired first, their energy weapons lashing out with enough force to vaporize conventional vessels. But these weren't conventional vessels. The human fleet's shields didn't just absorb the attacks, they redirected the energy, charging their own weapon systems in the process. It was technology that humanity had developed years ago, but kept hidden, knowing that revealing it too soon would make them a target. Now, that same technology was about to demonstrate why that caution had been necessary. "Target their weapons and propulsion systems only," Harrison ordered. "Disable, don't destroy." The Hyperion's weapons spoke, not with the crude force the Kraxan expected, but with surgical precision. Each shot found its mark, systematically stripping away the enemy fleet's ability to fight without endangering their crews. It was a display of not just technological superiority, but of tactical restraint that few species would have shown under similar circumstances. "Sir," Walsh reported, "we're detecting quantum communications from the Kraxan fleet. They're calling for reinforcements." Harrison nodded. Let them. The more ships they commit to this fight, the more clearly we can demonstrate why attacking humanity was a profound mistake. Across the sector, other human installations were dropping their peaceful facades. Defense platforms that had masqueraded as communication relays revealed their true nature. Research outposts transformed into fortresses. The careful preparations of generations were finally being put to use, not in aggression, but in a calculated demonstration of power that would make future aggressors think twice. On the Arcturus research station, Dr. Chen watched the battle unfold with a mixture of relief and sadness. The peaceful facade that humanity had maintained for so long was being stripped away, but she understood the necessity. Sometimes, the only way to maintain peace was to demonstrate the cost of breaking it. The Kraxan reinforcements arrived in waves, each larger than the last. Each wave discovered the same truth, that humanity had never been the soft target they imagined. Every engagement ended the same way: disabled Kraxan ships, their crews alive but humbled, facing the reality that they had catastrophically misread their opponents. Message from Earth Command, Walsh announced. The full awakening has been authorized. All sectors are going active. Harrison took a deep breath. This was the moment that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of humanity. Across human space, hidden fleets were emerging from carefully concealed bases. Technology that had been developed in secret was being revealed in a coordinated display of strength that would leave no doubt about humanity's true capabilities. Send word to all ships, Harrison ordered. The time for hiding is over. Show them who we really are. The giants had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. The price of underestimation. Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Kraxan Dominion stood before the holographic display of the Centauri sector, his scaled fingers clenched tight enough to leave marks on the command console. The tactical overlay showed something that should have been impossible: the complete rout of 3 Kraxan battle groups by what were supposed to be inferior human forces. How? He demanded, his voice echoing through the command center of the Dominion's flagship, the Eternal Flame. How did we miss this level of military advancement? His intelligence chief, Renzar, stepped forward, data streams flowing across her neural interface. They deceived everyone, not just us. Every piece of technology they showed the galaxy was genuine, but incomplete. They'd reveal a new drive system, but hide its military applications. They'd demonstrate medical technology while concealing how it could enhance their combat capabilities. The humans had played a long game, one that the Kraxan, with their tradition of direct confrontation, had failed to recognize until it was too late. What appeared to be civilian research into energy efficiency had masked the development of weapons that could disable capital ships without destroying them. Advances in agricultural science had concealed breakthroughs in sustainable military logistics. The Third Fleet is assembled and ready to launch, his second-in-command reported. Shall we proceed with the attack on their core worlds? Vexthor studied the tactical display, noting how the humans had positioned their forces. Their fleet movements suggested not just advanced technology, but a deep understanding of strategic warfare that went far beyond what anyone had credited them with. No, he decided, surprising his officers. We will not make the same mistake twice. Prepare for a full tactical analysis of their capabilities. I want to know everything. But the humans had no intention of giving the Kraxan time to regroup. Across the sector, human ships were moving with purpose, each maneuver revealing new aspects of their true capabilities. The careful mask of peaceful researchers and traders had been pulled away, revealing warriors who had never forgotten the lessons learned on their death world. Admiral Harrison's fleet had expanded, joined by ships that emerged from what appeared to be empty space, vessels protected by stealth systems that made the Kraxan's best cloaking technology look primitive by comparison. The UES Hyperion led the formation, its presence a statement that humanity was done hiding. Multiple Kraxan signatures detected, Lieutenant Commander Walsh reported. They're attempting to establish a defensive line around their core territories. Harrison nodded, studying the enemy formation. The Kraxan were adapting, trying to compensate for humanity's unexpected capabilities. But they were still thinking in traditional terms of space warfare, still unable to grasp just how thoroughly they had underestimated their opponent. "Launch the J-host units," Harrison ordered. Across the human fleet, small craft detached from their motherships. To Kraxan sensors, they appeared to be standard fighter craft. The reality was far more sophisticated. Each J-host unit contained quantum-linked AI systems that could process combat data faster than organic minds, paired with experimental technology that had been developed in secret for decades. The Kraxan fleet detected the approaching fighters and responded predictably, launching their own interceptors. It was exactly what Harrison had anticipated. The J-host units weren't meant to engage in traditional combat. They were carrying something far more dangerous than weapons. "J-host units in position," Walsh announced. Quantum field initialized. The space around the Kraxan fleet suddenly lit up with energy signatures as the J-host units activated their primary systems. Years of research into quantum mechanics and dimensional physics manifested in a way that the Kraxan had never imagined possible. Their ships found themselves fighting against localized distortions in spacetime itself. On the Eternal Flame, Vexthor watched in growing horror as his fleet's sophisticated weapons and defenses were rendered nearly useless. The humans weren't just fighting with superior technology. They were fighting with a fundamental understanding of physics that went beyond anything the Kraxan had achieved. They'd been preparing for this for generations, Renzar realized, her voice filled with a mixture of fear and admiration. Every scientific breakthrough, every technological advancement, it was all leading to this moment. The J-host units continued their work, creating a web of quantum distortions that effectively trapped the Kraxan fleet. It wasn't just a display of military might. It was a demonstration of just how far humanity had advanced while maintaining their peaceful facade. "Sir," Walsh reported to Harrison, "the Kraxan flagship is signaling. They're requesting terms." Harrison allowed himself a moment of satisfaction, not at the victory itself, but at what it represented. Humanity had hoped to never need these weapons, these technologies. They had hidden their true capabilities not out of fear, but out of a genuine desire for peace. But when pushed, when their hand was forced, they had shown the galaxy exactly why Earth was classified as a death world. "Open a channel," he ordered. "Let's show them that humanity's strength lies not just in our ability to fight, but in our capacity for mercy." The price of underestimating humanity had been paid. The question now was whether the galaxy was ready for the changes that would follow. Ripples across the stars. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Confederation had never been so silent. Representatives from hundreds of species sat in stunned silence as they watched the footage from the Kraxan conflict. The massive holographic display showed human ships executing maneuvers that should have been impossible, deploying technology that no one had even theorized was possible. Ambassador Lyra Telvin of the Arcanian Collective was the first to speak, her crystalline form reflecting the light from the display. "They hid this from us. All this time, while we debated whether to even allow them full membership in the Confederation, they possessed technology that could have dominated us all." The implications were staggering. Every trade agreement, every technological exchange, every diplomatic mission, all of it had been conducted with a species that had carefully hidden the true extent of their capabilities. Some members of the Council saw it as a betrayal. Others recognized it for what it was, a masterpiece of strategic patience. In the shadows of the chamber, Zixtal, the representative of the Nexus Minds, processed the data with his species' characteristic analytical precision. Fascinating, he transmitted to his fellow council members. "They showed us exactly what we expected to see. We assumed they were merely survivors of a harsh world, and they let us maintain that assumption." The footage continued, showing the J-host units in action. Several council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats as they watched Kraxan warships, among the most powerful in known space, being systematically disabled by technology that shouldn't exist. On the other side of the galaxy, the news was spreading through civilian channels. Trading posts, space stations, and colony worlds buzzed with a mixture of fear and amazement. Species that had dismissed humans as interesting but ultimately harmless were frantically reassessing centuries of interaction. The Meridian Exchange, the galaxy's largest trading consortium, called an emergency session of its board. Humanity's revealed capabilities had profound implications for the galactic economy. Technology that had been considered theoretical was now proven possible, and humans had been quietly developing it for generations. We need to understand what this means for existing trade agreements, Director Vensar of the Exchange argued. If humans have been capable of this level of technology all along, what else have they been holding back? In military command centers across the galaxy, strategists and analysts worked frantically to update their assessments of human capabilities. The Kraxan defeat had shattered countless assumptions about the balance of power in the galaxy. Admiral Harrison received the reports of these reactions aboard the Hyperion. Each new transmission confirmed what humanity had known would happen. Their revelation had fundamentally altered the galaxy's political landscape. The Arcanian Collective is requesting an immediate diplomatic conference, Lieutenant Commander Walsh reported. The Nexus Minds have offered to host. Several other major powers are asking to attend. Harrison shared a knowing look with Dr. Chen, who had joined the Hyperion after the Arcturus Station incident. They had known this moment would come, when humanity would have to explain themselves to a galaxy that suddenly saw them in a very different light. The Meridian Exchange is reporting massive fluctuations in technology futures, Walsh continued. Apparently, the mere possibility that we might share some of our advancements is causing economic shockwaves. Chen stepped forward, her experience as a xenobiologist providing valuable insight. They're not just afraid of our military capability, she observed. They're realizing that every field of human research, every technological breakthrough we've shared, likely has depths we never revealed. She was right. Humanity's deception hadn't been limited to military technology. Their medical advances, their agricultural techniques, their energy systems, everything they had shared with the galaxy had been carefully curated to hide their true level of development. In the furthest reaches of space, the news reached the reclusive quorum of elders, ancient beings who rarely involved themselves in galactic politics. For the first time in centuries, they called for a gathering of their full membership. Humanity's revelation had caught even their attention. The humans have demonstrated wisdom we did not expect. The elder voice transmitted across secure channels. They had the power to dominate, yet chose to hide it. They had the ability to conquer, yet sought peace. Only when attacked did they reveal their true nature. The ripples continued to spread. Minor powers began reaching out to human diplomats, seeking new alliances. Species that had dismissed human scientific papers were now reviewing them with obsessive detail, looking for the hidden implications they had missed. Ambassador Marcus Chen, Sarah's brother and humanity's representative to the Confederation, prepared for what would be the most important diplomatic session in human history. He would need to explain why humanity had hidden their true nature, why they had maintained the facade of being merely clever survivors, rather than the technological giants they truly were. Tell them the truth, Harrison had advised during their secure communication. Tell them we hid our strength not out of fear or deception, but out of hope, hope that we would never need to use it. As the galaxy grappled with this new reality, the human fleet maintained its vigilant watch. They had revealed themselves not by choice, but by necessity. Now they would have to navigate a galaxy that suddenly saw them not as peaceful researchers and traders, but as a power that had been hiding in plain sight all along. The ripples of their revelation would continue to spread, reshaping alliances, changing assumptions, and forcing every species in the galaxy to reconsider their place in the cosmic order. The peaceful facade had been torn away, and there was no going back. Breaking point. The Great Hall of Concordance on Earth had never hosted so many alien dignitaries. Representatives from every major power in the galaxy had gathered, their varied forms filling the ancient chamber with a riot of colors, shapes, and sizes. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Marcus Chen, facing the assembled leaders of galactic civilization. The past month had seen the galaxy transform. The Kraxan Dominion's defeat had shattered more than just their military pride. It had broken centuries of assumptions about humanity's place in the cosmic order. Now, as the dust settled, the time had come for humanity to explain itself. "We understand your fear," Marcus began, his voice carrying across the silent chamber. "You look at our hidden strength and see deception. You see our concealed technology and assume betrayal. But I ask you to consider a different perspective." The holographic displays activated, showing Earth's history, not the sanitized version humanity had shared with the galaxy, but the true story of their evolution on a death world that had forced them to adapt or die. "We didn't hide our strength out of malice or fear," Marcus continued. "We hid it because we knew how it would be perceived. A species from a death world, armed with advanced technology. The galaxy would have united against us before we could prove our intentions." Supreme Commander Vexthor, now serving as the Kraxan representative after their military defeat, shifted uncomfortably. His species had done exactly what humanity had feared, assumed that their capabilities made them a threat that needed to be eliminated. In orbit above Earth, the UES Hyperion maintained its watch. Admiral Harrison stood on the bridge, monitoring the diplomatic proceedings while keeping an eye on the massive fleet of alien vessels that had accompanied their representatives to Earth. Each ship was a reminder of how the galaxy's perception of humanity had changed. "The Arcanian Collective is scanning us again," Lieutenant Commander Walsh reported with a slight smile. "They still can't believe our energy readings." Harrison nodded. "Let them scan." Humanity had nothing left to hide. The breaking point had been reached and passed, and now they could finally be themselves. Back in the Great Hall, Marcus was showing the assembled representatives something they had never expected: the full extent of human technological advancement. Not just their military capabilities, but their medical breakthroughs, their environmental restoration techniques, their quantum communication systems. "We developed these technologies not for war, but for survival," he explained. "Each advancement was meant to ensure our species could thrive in any environment, could face any challenge. We hid them because we knew that power often breeds fear, and fear leads to conflict." The Nexus Mind representative pulsed with interest. "Yet when attacked, you revealed everything. Why not maintain the deception?" Marcus's answer was simple but profound. "Because the greatest deception would have been to let the galaxy believe that peace means weakness. We are not weak because we choose peace. We are strong enough to choose peace despite our capability for war." In the depths of space, human ships were already implementing the new protocols. The masks were coming off, revealing their true capabilities not as a threat, but as an offering. Stations that had hidden their advanced medical facilities were opening them to all species. Research outposts were sharing the full extent of their discoveries. The Quorum of Elders, watching through their quantum-linked representatives, saw something in humanity that resonated with their ancient wisdom. A species that had developed not just the means to dominate, but the wisdom to hide that power until absolutely necessary. "We offer the galaxy a choice," Marcus continued. "We can return to the old way, suspicion, fear, and the constant threat of conflict. Or we can move forward together, using our combined strengths to face the challenges that threaten us all." He gestured to the holographic display, which now showed the galaxy's unexplored regions. "There are threats out there that none of us can face alone. Cosmic phenomena we don't understand. Challenges that require not just technology, but wisdom to overcome. We hid our strength until now, but we offer it freely to those who would stand with us as equals." The chamber erupted in discussion, hundreds of species debating humanity's revelation and offer. But there was a different tone to their deliberations now, not fear of humanity's power, but consideration of their wisdom. Admiral Harrison received the diplomatic feeds on the Hyperion's bridge. Beside him, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the proceedings with pride. They had reached and passed the breaking point, but instead of shattering, the galaxy was being reforged into something stronger. The Kraxan delegation is requesting permission to tour our medical facilities, Walsh reported. Apparently, they're particularly interested in our regeneration technology. Harrison smiled. This was how it should be. Strength revealed not through conquest, but through sharing. The breaking point had become a turning point. As the diplomatic conference continued below, Earth's sky filled with the lights of alien ships. Not invaders or enemies, but representatives of a galaxy coming to terms with a species that had hidden its strength not out of fear, but out of hope for a better future. The age of deception was over. The age of true cooperation was about to begin. Humanity had been pushed to their breaking point, but in breaking, they had shown the galaxy a better way forward. They had proven that true strength lies not in the power you wield, but in the wisdom to know when and how to wield it. The Deathworlders had finally said enough, not just to threat and aggression, but to the need for masks and deception, and in doing so, they had changed the galaxy forever.